Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to my channel. My name's Mish. I've got a 4-year-old autistic toddler, and in this video I'll be talking about signs of autism in a 4-year-old. If you're after signs of autism in a baby or a younger child, I do have 2 other videos that I'll be linking in the description. My son was diagnosed with level 2 autism when he was 2 years old, and he's 4.5 years old now. This is just reflective of my son. So I know that autism is very broad, and this is not reflective of all types of autism. All right, let's get into it. Covering his ears in response to stress. He's in a place he doesn't want to be. He feels like he's going to get in trouble when he's done the wrong thing, or when he's eating something he doesn't like. He will cover his ears. So he'll do this. Stimming. So the types of stims that we've noticed, one of them unfortunately is on me. So I get very overstimulated and I don't like to be touched a lot. But unfortunately, my autistic toddler stims on me. So he will constantly touch me. He's very touchy-feely. He'll play with certain parts of my body. He'll touch my chest a lot. He likes knees. He likes my knees. He likes other people's knees. He just kind of plays with them, and yeah, that's really comforting for him. He pulls certain facial expressions. He'll squint and blink sometimes as a form of stimming. So he'll sort of do things like this. The social aspect is a really big one. He's never keen to like make new friends. He'll never go up to someone and try and play with them. If a child comes up to him, he'll kind of follow them around because he's interested. But I find that interaction only lasts for like, I don't know, 2 to 5 minutes, and then he's off doing his own thing. He gravitates towards younger children, 1 to 2-year-olds. It's very rare that he plays with children his own age. It's usually either the really young kids or the adults. When he does interact with other kids and want to be around them, it's more because he's interested in seeing what they're doing. Lack of physical boundaries with other people. This is with strangers and family. As I said, he's constantly touching me, and I do often tell him to stop touching me. He slaps me as well. I think that's a stim. He'll slap my leg and slap my belly. With strangers, like when we're in the shops, as people walk past him, he often grabs them. We get a mixed response. 50% of people, I would say, are taken back by it and they get a little bit upset by it, and then 50% of people welcome it and they do respond and say, oh, you know. But yeah, he just grabs people, and it doesn't matter how many times we tell him not to, he touches and grabs. When I'm breastfeeding my daughter, he seems to always come up as well and push her head. I'm constantly telling him not to, but it's like he has to do it. I think it might be a stim, a fixation, I don't know. Another social one is you can't have an age-appropriate conversation with him. Yes, he's talking a lot more now. He's a lot more understanding, but he doesn't have that conversational aspect is missing. If I said to him, hey Tide, how was your day? He would just say, how was your day? Like repeat it back to me, which is the echolalia. He would not actually be able to engage in that conversation. It's like he's in his own world. And his responses to conversations are very scripted. If I said, what's your name? He says, name Tide. Like he would always say it the same way. He definitely has a lot of phrases that he says. What's this? Mom, help mom. More water, more food, get brekkie, get lunch. And he'll say get lunch even if it's dinner. He'll say put jumper on even if it's a shirt. Right now, there's 2 phrases that he's using a lot, and that's what's this and mum look. His dialogue is very limited. He does immediate and delayed echolalia. So the immediate echolalia is when I say to him, hey Tide, and he'll say, hey Tide. Oh, she's smiling at you.
But trying this new.
You put the nappy in the bag?
Yeah, the bag.
But then the delayed one is when he will hear things that are being said to him, and then later in the day when he's kind of babbling, he'll repeat words that have been said to him, and he'll often talk to himself, and he'll say a lot of words that we just can't understand, phrases and sounds we can't understand, but then he'll intercept that with actual words. When he's misplaced something of ours and we saw him playing with it and we say, where's the green cup? And he'll just go, where's the green cup? That can get quite frustrating when he just repeats the question back to me. He can get very emotional and very frustrated if things don't go his own way. He's more easily triggered and he has to have things a certain way. He lashes out a lot in frustration with his siblings. With that, it's hard to discipline him because of his lack of understanding, and that actually has a ripple effect with his siblings. They get frustrated because he's not getting disciplined, and I have to explain to them that he doesn't understand what he's done wrong a lot of the times. Like if he makes someone cry, he sometimes doesn't understand that he's done something wrong to them. Stuttering. He's actually grown out of it, but he did do it for a few months from the age of 4. He would stutter when he would try and say a sentence. I think it's because his speech was developing a bit more and he had a lot of ideas to get out really quickly, and he'd get stuck on words. Directions. If I'm giving him directions, I have to be very explicit, or it'll simply just go over his head and he won't be able to understand what he's being asked to do. Hyperactivity. The kid can be really crazy. He's non-stop. He is non-stop moving. He's very energetic, very hyperactive. He's always blabbering and talking to himself. That's why I found it really useful to buy a pair of noise-reducing earplugs. He does have phrases as well that he repeats. Words that we just can't understand. At the moment, he says growls. We'd have no idea what it means. We repeat it back to him. We make it a game of it. Hello.
Hello, growl.
Hello, growl. He also said more kick up, and we don't know what that means either. He for a while was calling chins pom-poms. And he also does know what a pom-pom is. Just things that make sense to him that don't make sense to us. He does fixate on certain toys. He is obsessed with water play. That's probably been his longest obsession. He is quite fixated and obsessed with lining things up. He loves playing with magnetic tiles because he can line them up perfectly. Because often if he's trying to line something up and it falls over or it won't line up, he gets very, very frustrated. He will scream, he will cry. Sorting things. He'll sort things into colors and he'll sort his tiles into the different shapes. And it's pretty amazing the patterns that he can produce. He's very good at making symmetrical patterns because he likes things sorted and in order. Separation anxiety. This is a big one. When we moved house, when he was around 3.5 years old, he would just lose it if I walked into the next room. He definitely needs to be around me all the time. If it's not me, it's got to be his siblings. He can't be left alone in a room. My autistic toddler is a very, very emotionally sensitive little boy. He cries very easily. If I tell him to wait in his bed and I will be back in 2 minutes to put him to sleep, he will just sit there. Like he'll wait for like 30 seconds and he'll just sit there and cry for me and cry for me and cry for me and think I'm not coming back because he doesn't understand and he does not want to be left alone. He's also hypersensitive to other people's emotions. So when his baby sister starts crying in the car, he says, "No, still crying." And he gets quite distressed by that. Because he's very sensitive and emotional, that makes him a very beautiful person to have around. He's so caring and affectionate. This kid is very, very big on his routine. If things are done a different way, to the point of if it's his brother preparing his breakfast, not myself or my husband, he gets really upset. He wants the same thing done by the same person. He wants to sit at the same spot at the table. He doesn't just prefer it, like he has to have it, and he will cry and scream until he gets that same spot. He wants to read the exact same books every night at bedtime. He lines his books up in a pile. It's really sweet. Any major life changes are very distressing to him. When I first started homeschooling his elder siblings, they were obviously gone 5 days a week, and then they all of a sudden are back home 5 days a week. That was a really distressing thing for him, to have them home and to not have my undivided attention all of the time. He went from a really, really happy toddler to a really distressed, overly emotional toddler. When him and his siblings are eating at the table, if one of his siblings decides he wants to eat on the couch, Ty tells him to sit at the table because he needs everyone at the table. So he wants everything to be the same for everyone, which again can be quite frustrating for his siblings. And I have to just tell them, just sit at the table, it's going to make him happy. He's got a very good attention to detail. He'll often be able to hear like really fine sounds, like the faint humming of a motor, of an air conditioner. One time we were painting the house and I had paint on my fingers, and he would sit there and pick all the paint off, tiny bits of paint off my fingers. Food. There are certain textures that he just cannot handle. He'll block his ears when he's eating them. He will gag if he is trying to eat a food that he doesn't like. Because he is hypersensitive to stimuli, he's hypersensitive to new places and being in the shops. So if we're at birthday parties or shopping centers, he often just wants to go home. That being said, he actually does want to go out a lot of the times. I find that places that he never wants to leave are generally like the beach or the park. He's a nature boy. He loves being in nature. It's grounding. It's not noisy. We often go to quiet parks. His immune system is quite poor. So when Ty does get sick, he gets quite sick and it's really hard for him to shake it. In terms of his physicality, he's very skinny and he has quite low muscle tone. He doesn't seem as steady on his legs as another child of his age. His limbs especially are very skinny. He's very awkward in photos. If you tell him to smile, he'll pull this really stunned face. Bedtime is a struggle. He needs to have someone in the room with him at all times when he's sleeping, whether it's us putting him to sleep or his brother sleeping in the same room as him. And he does wake up every single night if no one's next to him, and he'll want to come into our room. I think he's only slept through the night once as a toddler in his own bed. Personal care, getting himself dressed is really hard. We have to assist him to get dressed. His fine motor skills are not age appropriate. He cannot hold a pencil the right way. He can color in within the lines really well, but he chooses not to. He's not really into coloring in. Anyway, that's a wrap. If you're in Australia and you want to know the next steps to getting your child diagnosed, I do have another video that I made about the whole diagnostic process. I will link that in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.